Hi, I'm Shelley Jones. Welcome to Learning Math with Dr. Jones. Our Facebook group will post a daily math lesson Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time throughout the month of August. Okay, so we're going to get started again. This is the second part of today's lesson. I'm going to work with order of operations. It's in your Math Foundations workbook on page 54, and it's in section 1.8. And so the idea here is we want to simplify this long expression, and we want to use our order of operations, but we don't want to forget about integer operations as well. And so when we're using our order of operations, we're going to do all of our grouping symbols first. So we have parentheses here, we want to multiply these, but then we also have this bracket, which is a grouping symbol. So we want to do all of the multiplications within this bracket as well. And then finally, we can do this last division. So we have a multiplication here, then we have a division, but we have this big grouping symbol. So we need to do everything inside of that. So let's get to it. So negative times negative is positive, and I want to multiply the numerators when I'm multiplying fractions. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 4 is 8. So I have a negative times negative, so I end up with a positive 3/8 divided by. But then we have this big bracket. And I'm going to do I'm going to multiply these two fractions, and then I'll bring in the third one, and then finally I'll bring in the last one. All right, and let me just make sure that -3, the -3 is in the bracket as well. Okay, so let's get to this. Positive times negative. So I have a 5/6 times a -2/3. So I can cancel out factors if I want, or I can just multiply. And I'm going to decide this time to cancel out factors only because we have so many numbers there. So I'm going to cancel out a factor of 2 here. So 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 6 3 times, right? 2 times 3 are both factors of 6. So now I'm going to multiply. Multiply the numerators. 5 times 1 is 5. Multiply the denominators. 3 times 3 is 9. And let's make sure I did that okay. So the 2 and the 6, I can take out a factor of 2, or cancel out a factor of 2. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 5 times 1 is 5, and 3 times 3 is 9. I have a positive times a negative, so my answer is negative. So we have a positive times negative, your result is negative. So now I want to bring in the next division, the next multiplication, and that one is a -3/5. Okay, and if I want, I can put that into parentheses just to show. And again, I'm going to cancel out some common factors, and I have a 5 and a 5 that's common, so 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 5 once, and then I'm going to cancel out a factor of 3, so 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. Again, you don't have to cancel out that common factor of 3. You can just multiply. You're just going to get a larger number that I don't want to deal with in the end. So I choose to factor those common factors out. All right. So now I'm going to multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. And 3 times 1 is 3. And I have a negative times a negative. So now I have a positive. So now I have a positive 1/3. And the last thing I need to bring in is that -3. Okay, so I'm slowly getting rid of all of the numbers, all of the factors in that bracket. So my last thing I need to do is multiply times 3. So if I wanted to, I could say 3/8 divided by, I can just bring that down so that I continue to see what I need to see. Now the other thing is, I could put a 1 under that 3. So I can write it as 1/3 times a -3/1. So all I did was I made the whole number into a whole number fraction. Instead of just a -3, it's going to be a -3/1. And now I can multiply. 1, multiply the numerators, and then multiply the denominators. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3, and I have a negative. So now I have a 3/8 divided by basically a negative 1, okay? So I can think of it like this: 3/8 divided by, let me see, is that a divided by a negative 1? Let's see. Where am I? Question 6. That's question 3. Okay, divided by. So that's correct. So I have a 3/8 divided by a negative 1. And when I have 3/8 divided by a negative 1, then I have a negative 3/8. Remember, multiplying positive times negative or dividing positive times negative, we, of course, whenever you multiply or divide by a 1, you get that same answer back. But in this case, it's a negative times a positive is a 1. So I don't need the number line here. So let me erase that. And so my answer is a negative 3/8. Okay? So that was long and drawn out. But that's my result, a negative 3/8. And it's simplified as much as it can be simplified.